Hey everybody, it is LSID932 on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for joining me. If I can ask those of you who are in here, could you just hit the like on your way in? Just hit the like and let me know that you are here, you're hearing me, and hit the subscribe. Now, I have a couple guests who are a little tardy to the party, but that's okay. That's okay. Because Love is Blind let couples leave and come back. I'm also going to allow folks to come in when they can, okay? So, here's what we will talk about. We're going to talk about the couples. We're going to talk about exactly what we saw. And I have some unpopular opinions. I've seen it go on around online, and it is a little unpopular, okay? So, let's talk about the folks that are still here, the couples that are still together. So we still have Hanny and Daniel. They are still together. Hanny has expressed that she needs alone time. She needs time away from Daniel so that she can regroup. And first I was like, girl, why? What's going on? But I understand the show has them tied together at the hip. They are filming and together all the time. So I understand that. If they had regular life, like Hanny said, if they had regular life, she'll be going off to work. He would be too. They'll be seeing their friends and they would have that space she says she needs. So Daniel did go away. He honored her request. And that's what I like about Daniel. Daniel honored, he listens, he hears you, he asks, what do you need from me? Daniel is trying his best to be there for Hanny. And I do appreciate what he's doing. So he left, he went back home, he left overnight. But then when Daniel came back, when Daniel came back around, Hanny's like, no, I need more time. So I booked a hotel and I'm leaving now. It's like, girl, could he have had like maybe a couple hours with you? You just up and said, hey, yeah, like you, like that you went away, but yeah, I got to go. So I don't know if Hanny, is drawn to her friends in the single life because we see her friends are not married, her friends are not in committed relationships that we heard of. And I'm kind of weary if Hanny's going to be the first one married and in this type of relationship amongst the friends. Friends sometimes don't always help, with this. It's hard being the first married friend or the only married friend in the group, especially if the group doesn't have any serious relationships. But thank you so much for joining this morning. Hey, Lady T Bug. Hey, Unfiltered Doll Reactions. Thank you so much, ladies, for coming by. So that's Hanny and Daniel for me. We met Daniel's parents who are like, hey, we trust our son. He go make his own decisions, but we think Hanny needs some time. I do believe Hanny needs some time. Hanny needs quite a bit of time rather than jump in full-heartedly into this. But I think that Daniel is what we've seen from this edited, translated show. What we've seen, I think Daniel could be good for her and she could be good for him as well. So that's about them. So Hanny takes us on a kind of detour. But before that, I want to talk about one couple that's no longer together for us. Was this these episodes? I think Pascal and Shella. Shella is quintessentially for me the lady that it's what she wants to hear. What she wants to hear is what she's going with. It's not what is actually happening. And Pascal has said nothing to me that sounds reassuring, but maybe he's edited out and so forth. But I think for me, it resonates for me with Shella because Shella she wanted to be with Pascal. She definitely wanted things to work. But then Fabio was giving her what she technically needed. Technically. He was giving her the words of affirmation. He was putting it out there. He was trying to be everything she needed. And it didn't sound to me like Shella was listening in the pods even to what Fabio and Pascal were telling her. I was just like, girl, Sheila, no, do not go for him. I was yelling at the TV. But hey, we are looking at their life through a lens that I just couldn't understand what Sheila was going through at all. So we also have another couple that's no longer on the show. I think this is where Tolga and Sheila broke up. That was episode 5. I was like, what is it in this group? Yes, it's in this group. And that's what prompted Pascal to say, Sheila, this ain't working. So Tolga and Sheila, I think this was the most respectful breakup I have seen on Love is Blind. And you can correct me if you've watched other seasons of Love is Blind. This was the most respectful of, hey, we met. I ain't feeling this. I ain't feeling you, but I can't do this with you. Thank you for popping in, Samantha. So this was the most respectful breakup. And Tolga, I was expecting the worst from you. Tolga, I have to say, I was very, very bad. I was thinking that you are going to set fire to all of this. I was thinking you were going to be mean. And especially when you said you were just withering inside and suffering. But Tolga, you handled this nicely. When you brought it up and Sheila did not want to talk about it, you allowed her the space not to talk about it. And y'all came back together later and talked about it. I really, really respected and liked that, Tolga. I was like, Tolga, you said you were Casanova and a self-proclaimed F-boy, and I was expecting F-boy behavior. So another, I keep saying Tolga sliding to the side, sliding away from the Casanova and F-boy language. This was another experience of Tolga just sliding away from that and not giving us the Casanova. But here's where you went back a little bit to the Casanova. At the mixer, they had all the couples that came back. We had all the couples come and all the people that they also connected with that they did not go with. So Tolga got to meet Hannah. And I was like, I hope. Hey, Manira. I hope Tolga likes Hannah. I'm hoping, I'm hoping. But then I was scared. If he likes Hannah, how are we going to do this? Are we going to push them in and move in right away? How are we going to do this? So Hannah tells us she almost didn't come that night because she expected Tolga and Sheila to be together. And then she learns they're not together. They're not together. She sits in the corner and talks to Tolga. And Hannah, you are my girl, Hannah. Hannah, if you're hearing this, if anybody knows Hannah, you've consistently been my girl, except for that one time you didn't want to hug in the pods, but I understand. I totally understand. You were my girl, Hannah. You clocked Tolga. Tolga wants someone who has more of a crush on him than he has on them. He wants to see and feel like you're fighting for him. You clocked it, Hannah. You were too accommodating in the pods. You were too nice. You were too much of what he actually needed. But he was still caught up in a little bit of toxicity. So Hannah clocked it. She told Tolga, yeah, you look how I thought. Some nice eyes. And he snatched up, oh, I got nice eyes. You think I got nice eyes? Tolga snatched it up. Tolga was all about, hey, you think I'm pretty? You think I'm awesome? Tolga snatched up on that. And I was like, okay. But Hannah clocked it. Hannah understood. And Hannah decided to give it another chance. Now, typically, I don't agree with giving another chance. I do not agree with that at all. But we have the Zach and Bliss success story of Love is Blind Seattle, where he went on a honeymoon with someone else and he came back and he went for his bliss. And now they are living in bliss with a kid. So Love is Blind is not real life. So Hannah did say she would like to go out with Tolga. She would like to give it a try. And I would love to know how they did doing. I don't mind if they just dated for a few months and realized this is not it, or if they dated. I can't wait for a reunion. I did not see a reunion listed, but I cannot wait for a reunion for the both of them. Everybody else, but for Tolga and Hannah, I'm invested. I'm invested. I am totally invested in them. So as I said, Pascal told Shella this ain't it. But at the mixer, Pascal didn't even come to the mixer. Pascal didn't come. Sheila didn't come. Is that they didn't come, or is that production not allowing them in? What's going on there? I am wondering, because everybody would get an invitation. Is this by circumstance, or is this production related? So, because I would have loved to see Sheila come in after Hannah and Tolga already made arrangements to go out. Now that would have been a scene. But Sheila is like, oh, okay. So we see in the mixer another one of my moments, my snap moments, is when Fabio came in. Fabio thought Pascal and Shella would be together, and Fabio saw that that's not the case. So Fabio's like, yeah, I ain't checking for Shella. I did not come here for Shella. I came here. They call her Alba. He came for Alberta. And when I tell you, Alberta walked in, Alberta gave me all that I needed when she walked in. And then Fabio gave me all I needed when she walked in. Hey, good morning. You're not late. We're still talking. We're still here. So when Alberta walked in and Fabio's eyes lit up, like I said, I can't do the whole lighting effects like I do in my recap. His eyes lit up when Alberta walked in. I was like, ooh, fish on the line. Just reel him in, Alberta, and you either keep him or you throw him back. And Alberta, obliged. They had a conversation. And Alberta has a great memory. And Alberta gave me all the little sister energy I could ever hope for. Alberta. Oh, I was like, ooh, girl. She told him, hey, he said immediately, I made a mistake. I was wrong. I should have picked you. And remember, his hang up really was her age. He didn't think she was mature enough for this. And his other hang up, a mistake, was telling Shella more than she needed to know, because Shella telling Alberta, oh, we were talking about how he was going to break up with you, really hurt Alberta. And really, in my mind, gave Alberta like, oh, heck no. Oh, heck no. We ain't never going back there. So when he said that, she said, hey, remember I asked you if you could ever find love for me like you have with Shella? And you said no. He's like, yeah, but it was all, she's like, oh, now you're changing the story. Now you got feelings for the both of us. Yeah. She's like, I'm no one's second option. And not only that, Alberta's like, yeah, thanks so much for the conversation. I'm going back with my girls. He's like, you're going now? So quickly? Yeah. I'm going to hang out with my friends. That's why I came, not for you. I was like, yes, Alberta. Yes. The walk in and the walk away. I'm sorry. That was my scene. That was my scene. I was so proud. It's so few times I could be like, yes, I could see this person, why they walked away, and so proud that they did walk away. Because I was getting shooketh that she would actually listen and be welcoming to Fabio. I was scared. I was like, no, we can't be moving in. No, we can't. Please don't choose Fabio. But I know it'll make great TV, but she didn't. She did not choose Fabio. She decided to hang out with the girls. But Hannah said, hey, Tolga, we can hang out. And not today. I hope she said not today. She didn't say that. But it's like, not today. Maybe not today. So the next couple, hmm, do I even want to go there with the couples? So let's do another couple that left because I really wanted to save them for one of my guests to come up, but I will share my unpopular opinion for this other couple that's no longer together for episodes 5 through 8. So we have that Jen and Marcel. Um, and if you're from Germany, please let me know if this is usual. Marcel has two female roommates in the US. We would side eye that. We would side eye. First, you got two roommates. Second, they're both ladies. Now, in the meetup, it did not look like there was anything romantic at all between the ladies and him, but side eye, total side eye. Thank you, Lady T. She said not unpopular. Well, I have an unpopular opinion as to their relationship that I think people would more not gravitate to. So he lives a minimalistic lifestyle, and in my recap, I showed pictures of his room. He very minimal, no headboard, no footboard, and the table in his room, the legs are stacks of books. Now that was interesting to me because I'm like, what if you want to read a book? What can you? Because then you got to find something that's the same size and wedge it in there so the table don't get wonky. So it's the physics of it all that didn't quite meet for me. But he had, plants tastefully put around his room. It looked like the roommates weren't watering them plants. That's what it looked like to me, like they didn't come in to water them. But is that a good thing or a bad thing? Because it's two ladies. But it looked like a nice apartment. Looked like a nice apartment. And remember, Marcel, Jen said she didn't learn anything new. It was exactly as they said. And the roommate said, hey, he takes his time to answer you. So if you pose a question to him, then it would be, how shall we say, he may take his time. It may not be right away. He may take his time. It may be the next day. But he takes his time to respond to you. And that could be seen to some people as being a little dismissive, or it could be seen as he's taking his time to really think of a response to your question. And I seem to think the latter because Marcel said he goes on a 10-day retreat, silent retreat. You do not speak or use technology for 10 days. I'm not sure I can last 10 hours. I'm not sure. I can last 10 minutes. I definitely can last 10 minutes without speaking. But I don't think I could do 10 days. 10 days. Marcel, that's outside of my color wheel. But here's the opinion. Marcel grew up in foster care, the way he's described it, and on a US standpoint of thought process, I don't think it was a very positive experience. Marcel, because he doesn't speak a lot, I think he has used silence as and his staring. Jen said he stares at her a lot. I think the staring and the silence are survival techniques that he learned as a child. Some children, I have a lot of ladies who are my friends who are like this, but I've never seen it in a gentleman. And so I was really picking up on Marcel because I really didn't understand too much, but it was all there. Just the staring to see if your mood changes, to see if they need to retreat or to stay silent, not to draw attention to themselves. But I think too with Jen, Marcel said he liked her. He liked her laughter. We never saw him try to tell her, could you calm it down? Could you dim yourself? We never saw him say that. So when Jen later says that she became like a shell of a person, I didn't understand where that came from, that she dimmed herself for him. I didn't understand. We'd never seen that. We saw him talking to production saying he liked her. He liked her exuberance. So, and her saying, hey, you know, I, I'm sitting across from him, yet I miss him. When Marcel told Jen in the past that he goes on this retreat and doesn't talk for 10 days, that told me the pods are different for him. The pods are different for Marcel. And it's taken him out of his comfort zone. I see you, Trey. It's taken him out of his comfort zone. He's used to not speaking. So there's going to be a different Marcel outside the pods. So that's what I took from it. And I'm like, Jen, you got to either, if you're going this route, y'all got to communicate. You may be the verbal, he may be the not so verbal, but y'all have got to communicate in some way so that y'all could, how can I say it? Y'all could understand that his silence does not mean he doesn't like. His silence is just his norm. So that he knows your exuberance does not push him away. He actually likes that and revels in it. And you know why he likes that, Jen? And I'll say this too. He likes it because it gives him information. He can see that you're happy. He can see you're exuberant. He can see what you like. And I think for Marcel, if he was paired with someone who did not show a lot of emotion or expression, it may throw him for a loop. It may throw him for a loop. And I'm thinking that Jen misread. And even though he was doing the small gestures for her that she asked for, I don't think it translated to her. It wasn't the small gestures that she was looking for, that she needed exactly. And when she started to shut down, like she said on the honeymoon, when she started to shut down on him, he probably thought these small gestures aren't working. This is not what she wants. I need to stop. I need to not do this. And it kind of put him on a teetering. It kind of put him on a playing field where he wasn't sure. It says maybe she is insecure and she dimmed her own light. Yes, I said that in my recap. We never saw Marcel tell her to change. We never saw him say, you're doing too much, or he told anyone doing too much. Now, people have told him he's not doing enough for her to be expressive, but we've never heard anyone say she's doing too much. And I did say in my recap, she dimmed her own light because she saw his silence as censure, that she needed to stop. But he's just taking it all in. So before I go down, because I could go down the rabbit hole about Marcel for forever, because I can see it, because I see it in my friends. But let me bring on one of my guests, Trey. Hey, Trey. What's up?
Yeah. Good afternoon. Yeah.
Afternoon here, evening in Germany.
Oh, good evening, Germans.
Golly, Trey. Hallo.
Hello. How's everybody?
I was
Mm.
talking about Marcel and Jen, their trajectory, and how I saw Marcel in a different light than most folks saw. Most folks saw him. What were your thoughts about Marcel and Jen?
Um, I think there was potential there, but there was elements where they both got in. They got in their own way, especially Jen, but Marcel as well. Like he knows he's not a talkative man, but first off, you were a talkative woman. She said, yeah, I like to talk, you know, and it was just one of those situations where I was like, I feel you, Marcel. I understand you actually. I get Marcel because I was listening to you early on, and I was like, I actually see myself. I see a lot of myself in Marcel actually, because I don't think he's learned to be quiet, but really what he is observant. He is very observant what's going on around him, what people are actually saying versus what they're actually doing. So that goes to the staring because I might do that. I won't stare in your face. That might be a little OD, but I have been known just to sit back, be quiet, and just look and see what's going on. To see, okay, that's what this is who you say you are. Let me find out who you really are. Okay, let me just watch you for a second. You know, and he's just so OD at it that it can put people off. It can really put people off, and I can see for Jen, it was putting her off. That's why to me, I was like, Marcel, now I get it, bro, but you're gonna have to give just a little bit more and actually talk to her. And even on the opposite end, I was like, Jen, this man told you exactly who he was in the odds. So far, he has lived up to exactly what he said he does and do. You acknowledge that. Now you're experiencing that. And you find yourself having a problem with it. I'm not saying you shouldn't have a problem. Is that some of the ways you were handling it was a bit interesting. You could tell there were times where she was, she was feeling a type of way, but instead of communicating that to him, she communicated that to that. And I was like, you should be telling him that, and having a conversation, and not assuming that he just knows. Because there was times that you would say something, and he's looking confused, and she's like, "Why didn't you understand this? This is what happened." I mean, thing.
You're going in and out a little bit, Trey.
Yeah, I think it's a
Yeah.
crazy area.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying. She did automatically think he would understand, but I think what she was doing there, he wasn't doing that with her. Remember, Marcel is our resident vegan one with the earth. He does, sustainable stuff. He wasn't even critiquing her clothing, which if the people in Marcel's category that I have experienced in my friendships is they would critique the fact that you're not wearing 100% cotton or you're not wearing, vegan style clothing or a vegan belt or bag. We never saw Marcel tell her any of that. So I'm trying to figure out, other than his behavior, other than maybe Jen sees silence as disapproval, is what I can tell. It could be that, but I'm not sure. We again, y'all, it's edited, translated. We don't know these people, but this is based off of experiences we've had with people in our lives. I'm thinking when Jen came back and told Marcel, Tolga of all people, they're giving Tolga too much shine on this because he's looking better and better each episode. Tolga told Marcel, you may need to up it a notch for Jen. They never say Jen is too much.
Yeah.
Not anybody. So where did she get that?
I don't know. I think you know what part of it. I'm not sure, but there was a moment when they were on their honeymoon or get together or getaway where they were talking about each other's lives and stuff, and Jen went into detail how she has partied it up. She could be classified as a party girl to a certain extent, and Marcel's reaction, even I had to admit, was I don't know what he meant by that. Like I wasn't sure whether that alarmed him because it looked like alarm for a little bit of a second. It did for a split second, but it seemed like okay, he processed it. All right, but who are you now? This is who you say you are now, and I'm accepting that and moved on from it. But ever since then, after she didn't get the reaction that I guess she thought could should have came from that, she's been a little iffy ever since then. And that's just something I noticed. I was like, okay, he didn't react to how you thought he was gonna react some complete, and I don't know playing with her. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, he certainly didn't react how she expected. But again, and I had to learn this myself. A reaction or lack of reaction does not mean disapproval. It does not mean the person doesn't like what you said. They may just be processing it. It may be new information. So it to me sounded like the way Marcel is that he's very introspective, and I kind of see Marcel too. My grandfather was like that, quiet, watching, hardly says a word, but when you say a word, when he said a word, and maybe because he was also an elder, it was mighty.
Yes.
So I see comment K Sharp says, sounds like the guy was not interested or disengaged, which in turn makes the woman feel like she's doing too much. POV from a non-watcher. And I could understand that, K Sharp. We've
Hmm.
had most people think that he was uninterested, but considering what he said from his his past being not 100% great in foster care, and we all may know someone or heard stories of that, or folks with parents who aren't 100% a positive home life experience, to him being 10 days not speaking at someplace. To me, the not speaking does not mean for him is disengagement. Now, Trey just said too, for him, it doesn't mean disengage. He just watching. So for anyone else, I would say for me, non-speaking, it may be disengaging.
For some, yes.
I may be I may be in my head thinking about the grocery list for tomorrow, but not engaging at all. But for other people, the non-verbal could mean complete focus. They turn off one sense to activate the others. Seeing and hearing
Yep.
are amplified. So I can see that, K Sharp. I think Jen felt that way, that he was not interested and was disengaged. But translation, that isn't who he presented himself to be. And when they ended things, they sat in the room. He was on the chair, she was on the bed, and she's like, maybe we should end things. I want to know how long Marcel sat in that chair before he got up and left.
A
Because
while
I think they just left the camera, went on break, and Marcel was still sitting there. That's
thinking,
how processing.
think,
Tell me, Trey.
just thinking. He was replaying every conversation they had in his head and what went wrong. And you saw it on his face. I was like, yo, he really liked her. He really, really liked her. And I think she liked him. He just didn't talk enough. He's not a. I used to be Marcel. I was not the talkative dude growing up, or especially in my early college years. I was the quiet dude. I was the cool, quiet dude in the corner watching everybody. And it got to a point. It was on purpose, because people did react that way. Just, well, what's going on with him? Does he feel a type of way? Like, nah, I'm just chilling. I'm just watching. It was interesting to see how other people reacted to me. It got to that point, but then I realized, like, no, that's not good, effective communication. You got to be able to, you got to speak to these people, actually get an understanding. We all don't have ESP.
Well, Mr. El Cid is like that, but to the outside world. He would come to a dinner party and he would speak when spoken to.
Yes, that's
But
me.
on the ride there and home, he's
That's because he like you.
but
You know.
right, but we had to get there. Exactly. Exactly. And I think that's what Jen is probably processing too. He hasn't made that change, so he must not like me. But
It's a
Marcel
little,
is reacting. She said she wants the little things. And for him, sitting there making banana bread with him, what he eats, to him is a it's a big thing, but he knows it's a little thing to pour into her. But it didn't hit.
He was so happy. He was so happy making that banana bread. This
Cause
is a
can you
simple
imagine
guy.
if you right, right? Can you imagine if he dating a non-vegan?
Uh, it was Marcel is just a simple guy. You know, he is the embodiment. When he told us about the 10 days that I was speaking, even I went, dang, bro. You know, I ain't gonna lie. A part of me, there was a part of me that went, that sounds very nice. There was a part of me. I went, that sounds very nice. You know, because there's times I'm home by myself. If you notice, if you're home by yourself, how much you don't talk. You ever notice that? If anybody comments, you ever notice that when you're home by yourself, how much you never really talk and how much you actually are in your head. Interesting, isn't it? But we feel like we have to talk when someone else is in the room. Interesting, isn't it? So a part of me was like, oh, that sounds really nice. Oh, dang, so much peace. Marcel is peace above all to the extreme. And that can be bad in some instances, especially when you're trying to build a relationship with someone who is not of that same caliber. You
Right.
know,
I
then it's
think
not peace above all else.
right. It is hard, but you bring up a great point that when you're by yourself at home, unless there's some folk, and I mean quiet alone, because some folks do need the music, do need, to hear something to fill up a silent space. That's like me with driving, but when there are no kids, no husband, and just the dogs and I, we quiet. We are quiet. I'm reading or I'm on the computer putting a thumbnail together or something. We are quiet. But I couldn't do it for 10 days. And I'm wondering, I need to know the gender makeup because I'm thinking it's a lot of y'all, a lot of dudes. I think Trey is frozen. I think
Now,
there's a lot of dudes out there that want the silence because we talk a little too much. Is that it, Trey?
look, not it depends. You know, it depends. But I have been in moments where I just be like, oh, just relax. It's not just chill out. You know, you will feel better if you just chill out. Relax. Don't say nothing. Just sit beside me. You know what? Just sit beside me, baby. Maybe that's why we don't mind. Like it's a simple things like watching movies at the house with each other. We even got to really discuss it. Just sit here and watch it, so you don't say nothing. I don't say nothing. We can discuss it afterwards. Just watch it. Just shh, shh.
Oh, we don't like that shush. You
Yeah,
know.
I know. I know.
Don't
But
do that.
sometimes you know it's true though. You be like, yo,
Don't do that. You end up with your mouth wide shut,
yeah.
like yay.
It only gets crazy to me or to us. I heard men say it before. It only gets crazy to us is when you're talking to your lady and then she complains about her friend that talks too much. And you be sitting there like, yo.
Yo, yo.
I'm like, but I just listen to y'all talk back and forth for like 3 hours. And now you complain that she talked too much. How you think I feel?
I do not have that experience, but I understand. I have male friends that we would talk, and you would have friends that when we get into a mindset, like if we're talking about world news, then we move over to stocks, then we move over to this. When that person sends you a text or they call, you're like, this is a 2-hour conversation.
Mm-hmm.
This is 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband will come by, look, you all right? Here's a glass of water. Give me sustenance while we keep on talking. But I never complain about it. I never complain because I probably won't speak to that person for 2 months. It's once every 2 months, once every 3 months. But I
Yeah, we gotta
do
catch
have
up.
You
Yeah,
gotta
catch
stack
up.
up on all the things we haven't talked about. That is so true. But yeah,
What happened?
I, I have that is my unpopular opinion, and I'm glad, Trey, that you do have it. I'm taking some jabs. I went to Queen E's recap, most recent recap. I love to watch Queen E, and I said it in her comments, and I had two people agree with me, and then I was taking jabs. I was like, can we
Yeah.
just see, for me, and for those who watch my recaps on channel and stuff, and I do my recaps real quick because I don't want to listen to anybody else's and have that feed into me. But I also know the loud sound of the crowd, and I know the crowd is going to say one thing, and I always like us to look at things from a different perspective. I know everybody's going to look at Jen, be consoling to Jen. They can see the issues that she can have with Marcel, but I
Hmm.
think very few people can look at Jen and see how Marcel could still very much like her, very much want to be with her, but just not expressing it in a manner that she can receive it.
Yeah. He likes her a lot. He really was feeling her
Yeah,
real bad, real bad.
yeah. And that could have been the most recent journal he was doing while sitting there. Can you imagine? That's what hurt me. That's what knocked me over. Could you imagine if he's journaling about how he's looking forward to meeting her mother, and then all of a sudden we not?
Hmm.
Whew. I, that's why I think he sat in that chair so long.
Yeah, you're right. He was sitting there for a minute because he was just, and you saw his eyes going back and forth. I was like, yo, he is processing hard, both sides of the brains. He's not playing. He's like, well, what happened? What happened? Oh God. Yeah. And even I think even he can see I probably should have spoke up a little more, or at least try to be more communicative.
Right. And it's hard, and I think for those we'll get off the Marcel Jen train, y'all, but I think it's hard when you go from a mode of non-speaking, especially if it's from a survival standpoint, to now you need to speak to have your relationship survive. That's some heavy lifting.
Well, how did he? I'm trying to figure out if that's the case. How did he survive even in the pods?
It forces him to speak.
That's true. That is true.
It forces verbal onto him. I'm not saying he was comfortable, and that may be why Tolga said he got a little temper. He can be snippy. The
Yes,
pod forced him to speak, and he could have been snippy with the men in the back because they probably like, dude, you need to talk. What's going on?
I think he was. There was a few times where he got in. He got into it with a couple of the fellas. Just a quick comment or two. He'd just be say something. I'm like, you know. So it's not like he doesn't have a backbone in anything. He's just quiet.
Quiet. Yeah. But we have exhausted that. What I did talk about before was the relationships that ended. I
Mm,
talked about Shella and Pascal, and I
mm,
talked about Tolga and Sheila.
mm.
So I want to give you a moment to kind of talk about those two couples and what do you think about the breakup, how they went together, and stuff like that.
Um, it's pronounced Shala.
The way it's said on the show is Sheila, but I have heard from folks who are native, it's Sheila is or Shyla is appropriate.
Okay, Shala, Shala. Okay, but we kind of saw that coming. That really wasn't a surprise with her and Pascal. Pascal told her in the pause he was in her straight up. Like was he told her he wasn't sure, and the part of me liked Shala, but the part that turned me off about her was the games that she was playing, especially in the ladies' lounge. And I was like, oh Now, no, it's these situations. It's going to akin to another couple. When we talk about married at first sight tonight, it's say the same thing. You could be pretty all you want to, but sometimes you open your mouth and it makes you ugly. And in this case, I liked Shella. I was like, okay, finally let me see what she talking about. Most of it was good, but then I would see her in certain situations that I'm like, ooh, okay, I understand this is a competition, but you diabolical. You know what I'm saying? You don't listen. This man is telling you how he feels about you. He likes you, but he don't. He's not too sure if he's gonna go anywhere. He's up, which is crazy by itself. You got homeboy. What's his name? Fabio. Fabio. That's a crazy name. I like him though. But Fabio,
With the long hair. He got
yeah,
long hair too.
That was crazy. Fabio tripped me out. I kind of feel bad for him, but he set his own self up for the failure because it was right in front of his face that this girl was using him to play him from the young girl. The problem is Alberta, which I like Alberta personally as well. I'm not gonna lie to you. I also think she was too young. I'm sorry. I felt the same way that Fabio did. Of some of the stuff that was talking, I felt it. I'm sorry. I was like, I like you, but there are certain instances where your immaturity does show through. But I was hoping he still would have chose her over Charlotte because I was seeing how Charlotte was moving. It was very manipulative because she manipulated Alberta like terribly so, and that's also leading to me why what I said about Alberta. Baby, why didn't you recognize it? Because she did it right in front of your face. But you still keep keying, even when they met in that Mitsu, you still keep keying with this lady. She played you out of your relationship with this guy in front of your face, and you didn't recognize it. That's immature to a certain extent. You ain't had enough experience to see that. Even when they told you that she did it, you still held up on them. Sorry, Alberta. I like you, but
But in Alberta's defense, I'm gonna stick up. That's the little sister I could never have. In Alberta's defense, she did go to Fabio and asked him directly, "Where we going?
exactly.
What is this?"
Yep.
And so Fabio confirmed to her what Shella was saying.
But that was only after Shella came and got in Fabio's head about her immaturity. This is mistake. This is the main. Okay, we always talk about not playing games, right? No one likes playing games. On this particular show, sometimes playing games is the way to go because just player to player, bro. There's a reason why most men do this. Don't talk about the other relationships when you're talking to one particular, especially if you know they're in the other lounge with each other. This chick Sheila was fishing for information of how his relationship was going with Alberta, and he was in the area of trying to be honest and telling her what was going on. That was his mistake. Like, bro, you talking too much. Talking too much. Like, don't tell her this. Because what did she do? She used that information against Alberta on the other side. Yeah, he thinks you're a little immature. So he's looking for a way to break up with you. Wow. Wow.
And she said she don't like drama. Shella said she ain't about drama, but
And
she
that's what killed
certainly
me.
gave a good dose of drama.
That's what killed me about the whole thing. And also, when I watch these shows, especially with other countries, I I don't watch it with the voiceover. I like to hear the actual people in their own voice, so I read the subtitles. Hey, I used to watch anime growing up, so that helped a lot. So I'm like, yeah, yeah. I want to hear them. I want to hear them speak. I want to hear the inflection of what you say, how you said this. Shala was very manipulative. Very manipulative. The funny thing was Pascal, if you notice, he caught on to it and wasn't feeding into it. He was not feeding into that mess. I don't know on their little get together getaway. But in his, you know what? The only problem I have with Pascal, you knew you was iffy on this woman from Jump Street. Why did you propose to her? You know, now one reason I can say they were kind of listen, when people get in competition, people do weird things, men and women. Pascal knew Fabio was talking to Sheila. He knew the whole time. He also knew, if you remember, he also knew that actually Fabio and Shyla was a better match. He knew this, but he played it cool on the other side, like, I like you too. You know what I'm saying? But it did. I don't want to say it because it makes Charlotte look a certain type of way. Because I think she's an intelligent lady, but
So,
why are you choosing this man that told you he's not 100% on you versus you
so,
pull that out of Fabio?
so are you saying Shella? Are you saying that Shella, how can I say it? She brought out the male instinct for winning in Pascal. He didn't want a fiance, but he definitely wanted to win, above Fabio.
Yes, competition, and he knew he had the edge the whole time, which I think was crazy to him. Because if you notice, her main issue was the men opening up to her, being more open with her emotions. Fabio, she got what she wanted out of Fabio because he opened up. But
Yeah, he wasn't hiding
yes, but Pascal kept a lot of things closer to the chest, and I believe that was a challenge to her. You
because she
know,
wanted. My thought is she wanted Pascal because Pascal has traveled through Africa and she
that
wouldn't
to
have to
teach him.
teach him as much as Fabio. But then again, Fabio is a flight attendant. He has also traveled. So I'm like, I don't understand why, other than the whole family's living in the house situation. But again, Fabio ain't giving you nothing but crumbs. And I'm sorry. The one thing I would say with Germany, the no slight to you because you are not a German male on this show, Trey. The gift giving was subpar. Subpar from the men on Love is Blind Germany. And I did ask that in my last one. The gift giving was subpar. So all Pascal gave her was a letter. Fabio gave her nothing, but he gave her nothing tangible. But he gave her his emotions. He gave her clarity up front. And she knew she was going to choose Pascal, but it seemed, as you said, she's riding the fence. She's riding the fence. And if, whoever proposes, but she really wants Pascal. So why would you sabotage Alberta with Fabio, but it's because you didn't think you had Pascal in the pocket.
Yeah, she wanted to keep her options. She's playing the game, and from her point of view, she was playing it rather well up until the point where she had to make the choice. If you notice, she was the one that made the choice, not Pascal. She had to make the choice of who she wanted to truly go forward with. That's why I said Pascal was just sitting back and see how this turned out, because even he know you probably should have went with Fabio, because he's giving you what you want. He said that Fabio's giving you what you want.
Yeah, he did. He did. And that's why Pascal knew. But then I'm like, why then propose to her?
Now that's my issue with
It,
Pascal. That's my issue with Pascal. Don't get me wrong. I think he liked her in the pods, but enough to propose. Like, but then again, I mean, this is a show. We as watchers try to take these things a little more seriously than I think the people on the show do.
Are
that
you
time.
are you are you hitting on Lady T Buck's comment that I'm a little too passionate about it? Is that a little dig?
No,
Are you
I
giving a
think
little dig?
she didn't say two. She said L is so. And she said so. See, don't misread her. She love it. She loves it. She likes the fact that you get passionate about this and speak some truth into it. It's all good.
I'm watching you. I ain't Marcel. I ain't keeping quiet.
Yeah, but Pascal, I didn't understand. I was like, bro, you should have. Like I said, I think you were just playing the game. He knew this wasn't gonna go anywhere. But I did find it interesting. All the men, well, some of the men waited to get out of their situations as soon as Toho showed up and put the battery in their back. That was funny. Oh, we can leave and it'll be okay as long as we do it respectfully. Okay, okay, yeah. That was hilarious to me. I guess I will talk about Toho right quick. I do think um I wasn't as hard on him as everybody seemed else to be. I do see the issues with him though. And Hannah did point him out right to his face. I was like, dang, bro, right to your face. He used to being chased. That's the
Yep.
only reason why. That's the only why Sheila won. That's the only reason because she chased that man down like the lioness she is. Chased him down real quick. He was a warthog. He wasn't even a gazelle. He wasn't running that fast. He was a warthog. She chased him down. But
He
quick to
gave
realize,
he gave her the cupcake and flower, letting her know he welcomes his chase.
mm-hmm,
He
come and get
welcomed the chase.
now. I noticed you tiptoeing around it earlier. I guess I'm gonna be a little more blunt with it. I guess. Oh
Bring it.
God.
I needed that Y chromosome to bring it. Come on.
Okay.
I don't come on,
Listen.
say it.
In the beginning, when there was, he was in this little triangle with Hannah and Sheila. Even I said, okay, if you're gonna be real about it, from a physical aspect, Sheila looks better. He probably if he saw my eyes, he probably should choose Sheila. But even I said Hannah's personality would fit him better. Hannah's
Here's why I
personality
was
would fit him
tiptoeing
better.
about it. Here's why I was tiptoeing about it. Again, that's cultural.
I know.
Tolga's culture has his eyes gravitate to a physique like Hannah. Culturally, not like Sheila.
That's
And I
true.
was I thought so, and I was clued in my comments that that is a cultural norm. Hannah is. And especially when he saw her and his eyes lit up, I was like, okay,
Yeah.
now I
That's
understand
why
why it did.
that's why I had to check myself. I went, ooh, I put my own cultural standards onto this situation. Because I do have some friends that are their ethnicity or whatever. I'm like, yeah, they actually does make more sense. That makes more sense. Okay, Sheila, yeah, Sheila's pretty, but mm, it ain't for him. And he felt it because outside of the chase, they had nothing else in common. Like literally, outside of the chase, nothing else in common. Hannah and him actually had a few things in common, a few commonalities that they liked. And they played for banter that played off of one another. So, yeah, when they met up at the mixer, I was like, "Ooh, let's see how this go." You know, I don't know how I feel about it. It's kind of I'm like, could work, can't work, should it work? I don't know.
It gives them the opportunity. I like the opportunity. They didn't move in together. That's just my side that I wanted to see it. I want to see what they would do together. Um, because the show would tell us. But even if they only dated for a month or a couple of dates or whatever, we saw that there was a connection there and they were allowed to explore it. I'm glad Hannah came. I'm sorry Sheila did not, because
Hmm.
that would have been a good camera shot. But in in the three is three couples, right? In the three couples, and we're going to talk about in the three couples remaining, which is Hanny, Daniel.
Mm,
We have Ilias and Alina, and we
mm.
have Sally and Medina.
Sally Medina.
Sally and Medina, that little bonnet together in the bed took me
I
took
know it
me
did.
out. But
I know it
but
did.
he but he needs
I
to keep
know
their
it
locks tight. He needs to keep their
exactly.
locks.
I was like, I was like, yo, I can imagine how many women are tight over that bonnet. But I was like, no, it is especially in Jamaican culture. The guys wear bonnets. The big, you gotta, hey, I got hair to keep. He got hair. You gotta keep them dreads right. And
My
so
bald husband puts on my bonnet. So what really?
listen, he has to protect his scalp, keep it moisturized. You know what I'm saying? With the heat, he can't have it dry out. You know what I'm saying? You gotta get it right. Keep it moisture, soft. Put a nice balm on it at night. Yeah, but come on, when you wake up in the morning, you can rub it. Come on, you don't rub that bald head once or twice. Like, ooh, it is nice and smooth and soft. Yeah, yeah.
We talking about Sally and Medina.
Yeah, those two. Oh my god. I feel so many ways about them that I can't even start where. I guess we gotta. You know what? I'm gonna start at that review right quick. I did not read it the way everybody else read it for some odd reason, and I don't understand how everybody read it the way they did. I don't get it because it was obvious to me that when he saw her, he was like, "Oh my god, this chick is fine. How is she going to see me?" And he set himself up for it in the pods when he said he was used to being put in the friend zone. So that told me right then and there. I said, okay, I see how this meeting is gonna go. I can see it right now, and it went exactly how I thought it was because I'm sorry, Sally, and Sally, I actually like Sally. That's who I probably would have went for in the pods if I was in there. I'm going for Sally, but even if I didn't see her, just talking to her, I probably would have went for Sally, even though there's some problems there. And it might say a lot about me, but there's some problems there. But I probably would have went for Sally until the problems popped up, and then we have to talk about this. But when Sally open, when them doors open, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm sorry, Sally. You can't tell me there was a slight disappointment because I saw your face. I saw your face. There's a reason why you went like this. Lou, let me cover that up. And he felt it as soon as you walked out. And then, of course, he explained it later on. I caught it. Yeah, he was laughing. He was nervous as that. I was like, yeah, he was nervous after. I could tell. It wasn't even like a real laugh. He was just like, he didn't know what to do. We're supposed to sit down and talk about this. If you notice, he didn't even do the kneel down and give her the ring because he felt the energy was off from Jump Street. He wasn't surprised when the producer told him Sally has. He's like, kind of saw that coming.
He did. He didn't even have a chance to sit on the couch in his lounge.
She was out. She was out. So I was hella surprised when they popped back up on the screen. I was like, what's going on here? What? They want to talk? Okay, see how this go. And now Sally is. I like the conversation. I don't think enough was talked about in that conversation.
I
Like
think it was edited out.
yes, yeah, I could tell they didn't really well, at least from what we saw, they didn't delve into how he really felt when she saw him for the first time and it was out. Because her only thing is, hey, I just want to try to give this a try because I think in her mind she knew she messed up by treating someone in a certain manner for how and present it to her, but then try to cover it up like, "Ooh, well, I wasn't too sure about you because you're just laughing, this and that and third." I was like, "Come on now, come on now, you know." But for some reason, I want to pull for them. Yet they got so many issues to work past first. You know, they're mostly family issues. Like I don't, yeah, both sides actually, from both sides, but especially Medina's side. Because I hate to jump a little forward. When he met his mama, listen, listen. I'll be honest with you, and I think Sally felt it. She knew how important this meeting was going to be because Medina pretty much explained his mama in very accurate terms. Not judgmental, she's going to be checking you out. And the mama checked her out and saw issues off the bat. And it had nothing to do with the way she looks because she's a beautiful woman. It's about how she presents and what she is saying by not saying it. Like, I don't know if you're going to be the right fit for my son. Just point blank period. And he's the baby boy too, right?
Here, that whole dinner scene, the whole thing had me clocked, and I'm glad you're here, Trey. Because let me ask you, as the Y chromosome here,
Okay, I know where we're going.
okay, and I may be off because it may be their culture. One, this is his
Mm-hmm.
apartment, and he not sitting at the head of the table. And
Nope,
two, he ain't leading in prayer. One of
nope,
the sisters did. I was like, are they ever? And this is, I'm sorry, and I'm not meaning to. Are they ever going to allow him to grow up and be the head of his own household?
no. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm glad that you pointed it out that way. Are they gonna allow him to grow up and be the head of his own household? The answer is no. For two main reasons. Number one, he's the baby boy of the family, and put it to you this way: in certain positions, however you cut it to slice it, he's always gonna be the baby. So they're never gonna look at him as a head. And even culturally, I think it's going to reinforce that because he is the baby boy and the only boy at that. So, quote unquote, it's going to be his responsibility to push that family name along. So they're going to be very protective of who he pushes along with and how he moves into that dirt. It's going to be a lot of control. And honestly, he has. I think there's a part of okay. I'll be giving him some bail on this. I think there's a part of him. There is a part of him that wants to pull away from that tradition. I don't think he wants that responsibility, honestly. But there's another part of him that he is all about family. He is all about family, so he's going to try to acquiesce to what his family needs. The only problem is expecting him to build a new family with her, which I don't think she's wrong for feeling that way. Most women expect that. The only problem is if you take a step back and look at it, she is somewhat saying, I'm gonna need you to pull back and sacrifice from your family. But she's not willing to do that same sacrifice with her family.
But he got to sacrifice a lot, not just the family. You got to take off your chains, take off your earrings, fix your
Cut his
hair.
hair. Cut his hair. Now that bothered me more than I thought it would. I was like,
Well, okay, Samson. Okay, Samson.
I'm like, Sally, are you Delilah? What are you telling me right now? You hurt my feelings because I like you. You hurt my feelings real bad. I was like, you expecting this man to do all these changes? Like, honestly, that's just going more to show that you really don't like. You didn't like him when you first saw him in the first place. You're not accepting of who he is aesthetically. You're trying to make these changes to fit your narrative. Like, that's a problem. That and the only reason why it's a problem, it is okay, man or woman, it is okay if you're willing to make changes within yourself, to either you want to make changes for yourself, or you don't mind making some changes to make your spouse happy to a certain extent. But it shouldn't be to so much of a change that you bend or break to who you are as a person, just to appease them. This is not a situation where, hey, I think my husband might look nice in this shirt, or these style of shirts. So I might get that for him, or you tell him about these shirts, whatever. Maybe he'll slowly change his style to that. Cause you find it attractive on him. That's cool. But you're making demands of making changes to him to who he has built his own character to be.
But the locks aren't his naturally. The locks
Now,
are additions.
I did catch
But
that. I was like, "Oh, wait a minute, bro. You know what? When I found out they were face locks, I was like, oh, you know what? You can cut your hair now. Okay, so
oh,
yeah,
you okay? You have probably not experienced it, but those are definitely additional locks that you add. It's crochet. It's crochet.
yo, I've seen
That's
them.
all it is.
I just didn't know he had them until they said it for some odd reason. I wasn't checking on his hair that hard. I wasn't.
Oh, okay. Well,
I
it looks
just
shiny in the light in the pod. The minute it looks shiny, I was like, oh yeah, that.
listen.
But he's the
It is
only one
still
on social media I went to check on because I wanted to see what he looked like without the locks, and very presentable, even with the locks. I don't understand. I think her family has an aesthetic, and probably the
yes,
mama, his
yes.
mama too. And what I didn't like is that we didn't see the meet with her family.
That was telling to me. That was telling
Her
me.
family, well, we know why Jen and Marcel didn't meet, but we never met Hanny's family.
That was telling as well.
I was like, where are these families? And I can understand if you don't want to be too much on camera or whatever, but tell
Yeah.
us something.
It was one thing if some of the family was like a distance issue. That's one thing. I can
Right?
understand the
Which
distance.
which Alina did.
Yes.
She met by a video conference, so that is not a
Still,
problem.
still, y'all could have got on video conference and had a conversation, something, but not meet these families. Yeah, it does say a lot. I knew as soon as Jen was like, was it Jen? Who was the one that said, I'm now okay for my husband to meet my family? Who was that?
I think it was
Was it
Jen
Jen?
afterwards with the mama. Yeah, now I'm
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Now I'm okay, but I don't think he still never met her though.
No, he didn't. She got a free trip to wherever they were because that was a hotel room, and then it broke up before he could meet her. You took me
That,
all the
that
way out there to break up.
that was crazy to me. That I was like, okay, I thought, yeah, y'all supposed to be out here to meet his mom, but all of a sudden you breaking up. What's going on?
She probably was holding out hope to the very, very last millisecond that they were going to meet. But we've been on them enough. But
Yeah,
yeah, it
that was
just ooh, we holding out hope because we, at least I find that Sally and Medina can work. But I also said in my recap that it is very daunting to move away from family. He is
yes,
the youngest, and
baby.
yep, and she certainly needs her mother. And the prospect, uh, from a lady's perspective of having your first child and all that, you want your mother to be there. But what I will tell a Sally is, like, I had the same thought prospect or whatever. And in my first marriage, my mother-in-law we had an amazing relationship. So it could be there, Sally, that these women of the family could be a great bond you're looking for. I'm not saying it's going to be all wonderful in the beginning, but yes, you want your mother there, and of course your mother can be there, but now you're having his three sisters and his mother. think of it as extending the village instead of you moving. And he never said he was going to move. He said he was open to
Open to it.
moving. Another woman telling herself what she wants to hear. Shella
Yep.
did it, and now he comes doing it. Oh my God, Sally, they
He said he
replayed
was
it for
open.
us.
He said it was open depending on the situation and how it looked. But she just expected it. Oh no, within a year we got to be moving. Why? Like I was gonna ask this question. I hope I'm not like reaching when I ask this, but is there maybe a hint of classism going on between Sally and Medina and their dynamic, especially between the families?
Interesting you should say that. I thought so at first, but until I see her family, I can't say. Until I see her family,
But
yes, the way she aesthetically was,
presents.
you got to do da 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 da. I was like, where's this coming from? What is he supposed to look like? And at first I thought corporate, but it could be that he needs to look
So when
like a
he met
certain
her
class.
dad,
Right. And I only bring that up because in Europe and in Love is Blind UK is where we understood that sometimes it's a class issue or it's
yeah,
a class. But until I meet her family, that did pop, Trey. It popped in my mind. But until I meet her family, I can't say if it's a class thing because a few things she said hinted at class,
yeah. But it
but I
always
couldn't. Yes.
it always has something to do with her mom, and especially her dad. When she talks about her dad, the few times she did, that's where it popped up that and everything that he had to do to make that meeting go right. I was like, okay, what's going on here? Now, don't get me wrong, that could be also a cultural thing because I kind of almost went through the same issue when I met, when I met my partner's parents. I was like, you need to relax, okay? I got this, all right. But it was some of the same,
She's showing concern. She don't want you to fall into the fires.
and I get that. That's why part of me was like, all right, it maybe she just maybe want him to present well, and that could be cool. It's just some of the language she was using. I was like, you're making it. This is not just how you present to him. This is almost like you're trying to shine him up. Like a new shiny penny, make him look good. I'm like, what's going on here? This is weird. But like I said, I only recognize it because I kind of went through something a little similar. I was like, hmm. And the only thing mine was really was my tattoos, kind of not, cause in their culture is not really a thing. So I kind of had to cover them up to a certain extent. Luckily, it was wintertime,
Mm-hmm.
so it didn't matter. It was
Right.
wintertime. I'm wearing low
Right.
sleeves.
You do have a
But yeah,
cosign here, Trey. You have a cosign that it believe it's a class issue.
you know, it
Could
just
be.
yeah, it's
Could
just
be.
giving that. It's just giving
Well,
that. He
you know what gave me that too? Yes, I said, is Daddy the king or the Pope? What are we doing? And also,
in
I'm
her eyes,
sorry,
yeah,
the class came with the gift giving in the pot. I'm sorry, Medina,
yeah.
you're not gonna get over that concert bracelet. You gave her a
I mean,
concert bracelet, and she gave you a
hell,
gold chain.
okay, I'm gonna push back on this just a tad bit. I've always been a little leery about these gift givings in these pod situations. Because first of all, I'm be honest with you, unless you truly want to do something for somebody, like it's birthday. If you told me your birthday is coming up, and while we're in the pods, I would probably think, okay, we're dating each other in pods, and we've gotten to that point where I like this girl. I would probably be like, you know what? Let me do something nice for her or something. I would try to make it personable to what you had said to me, something you might like. But this idea of there has to be this gift giving, it's turned into a thing now. It's a thing. Ooh, what gifts is going to be given?
Trey, I'm not talking about a whole bunch. We have had, and Love is Blind Habibi has it too. You send a meal. You send
Okay,
a plate of this is taco night because I know you like tacos.
I love
That's
food.
what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about anything big. A slice of cake. You have production that it's not coming out of your budget. This is what I'm
No, that's
thinking.
true.
It's
That
not
is
out of
true.
your budget, your money, but you can still do something that you would do in the outside world. And what you're telling me is you're going to do a concert bracelet, which I'm hoping come with concert tickets. So I'm gonna probably give you that one in the outside world. But I mean, the cupcake and the flower was fine, Tolga. But my golly, nothing else.
Well, wait a minute
From
now.
a
It
letter from
seems.
Pascal, you can say he's given her his heart, but nothing else. Not
Well,
even
wait a minute now. Wait a minute now. It seems like we are judging this because just because Sally decided to give a gold chain and he gave her a little plastic bracelet that happened to say the same thing that said on her gold chain. You know, ooh, we were thinking the same way. That was nice. Okay. My thing is, how is he responsible for knowing that she was going to give him a gold chain?
He doesn't. And that's my point. He doesn't. And even so, the plastic bracelet screams homie.
Oh
I'm
my
sorry,
God.
it's not a romantic
That's not
gesture or
homie.
gift.
That's not. It's the
That ain't
sentimental.
romantic.
It's supposed to be the sentimental value because they actually spoke about that verse and what it means. It's he to say, hey, you know what? That verse means something to me too. And he always saved that. He said he saved this particular bracelet for years. He always kept it. So he decided to give to her. It was something sentimental. She just took the same verse of the Bible and had the production put it on a gold chain for her. I don't know if that's a real gold chain, but whatever. Give him a
Trey,
gold chain.
Trey, we have had Love is Blind Argentina and Mexico. I think Mexico too, but I know Argentina, where somebody took their cologne, sprayed it on a blanket, and sent it. That even wasn't even done. Come on! The blankets are in the pods
So
anyway. Send
you just wanted a little
something.
more thought. You just wanted something a little more personable and a little more thought, I guess.
Right, Tolga, sorry, Tolga is a self-proclaimed F boy and Casanova, and that was a Casanova move. But it wasn't her birthday. It wasn't her birthday. But
You
he
talking about a
wanted to
cupcake?
show, as you said, he was listening. And if this was your birthday, this is something I would have done.
All right, no plastic. I get it. Okay. It could have been on something else. Okay. I'll let
As
it
I
go.
said, Trey, we will forgive the plastic bracelet if it came with the Coachella tickets. Okay?
Oh, oh. See, now we're making this sentimental gift giving conditional. Look at what we're doing here. Look at what we're doing here. If it came with some tickets, woo, that's crazy.
As long as it ain't Fire Festival. As long
Oh my God. Yeah.
we,
You know them tickets ain't worth nothing. Nothing.
I would, because hey, what I learned about Medina, he's in the arts especially, and he does photography, and he does photography at these concerts and stuff. That's on his IG. So again, I could understand, but he's, the bracelet, I think that scene probably was edited and it maybe to give this exact result. And I'm sorry, it probably he did say more about the sentiment of the words rather than the bracelet, but I think I was kind of like, plastic bracelet. And Sally was like, oh my word, this is so special. I slept with it overnight. And I'm like, girl, this is a crumb. This is
It's
a
about the
crumb. But
sentiment.
it's
It's
a
the
sentiment.
sentiment.
And again, that sentiment don't resonate with me. And that's why they are on the show. And that's why they're together as of this episode.
Now, see, now this is the thing. I heard. It was the Fredericks. What's the screen name? Um, the Fredericks, the comedian, the Fredericks. Crap, can't even
Okay.
think his name. I can't even think his name. Oh my God, it's the Fredericks. Anyway, he was on like a Black Love panel, or whatever. He told a story about gave his wife all these gifts all these years, and he never knew that some of the gifts he was giving she didn't like, mainly because she never told him. either. So he's just giving gifts all these years, thinking he's doing something. And she never said that she didn't like some of those gifts until later on. They got 18 years into the marriage, whatever. And just one day, he said he had got her Louis Vuitton pack or whatever, whatever. And she's just like, babe, I don't like this. I actually would rather have this. He's like, okay, it wasn't a big deal, but he found it in the back of his head. Like, okay, that's strange. Then he got her some Louis Vuittons bedazzled, no, some red bottom bedazzled shoes, and she didn't like them. And so, so he got mad. Was like, dang, all these years I'm spending money on this, whatever. But it goes to show you do have to understand what that person likes.
It goes to show you got to communicate, because here's the
That's
thing. And I'm very open with folks. I am on my second marriage, my first marriage. And what I learned from my grandparents is you got to speak up, because what you don't want is the disappointment. Especially I used to analyze Christmas Day. So what I did, here's a list. You could choose as many or as little. It could be just one from the list of items that are acceptable. The problem comes in, Trey, when you communicate that list and folks deviate from the list.
Yeah.
And that's why I said I also love my mother-in-law too, because the 1 year he deviated from the list, my mother-in-law clocked it. She clocked it and said, oh, no. She's like, why didn't you come to me? I know exactly what she wanted, because she and I were attached to the hip. She's like, why didn't you come to me? But it's clearly on the list. Model number, item number. What are you doing? And so here now, too, we never had that problem after. But here now, too, with my current husband, it's like, here are the things. But he's not a Christmas Day person. He is just because any time of the year, don't try to take my money when you want it. I'm going to give my money when I want it. So it may be I come home to something and a daggone show ain't Christmas. A daggone show ain't Valentine's Day. He's like Marcel in that way. He ain't commercialized.
Yeah.
But what he is going to do is like, yeah, honey, I remember you were talking a couple weeks ago about it. It's upstairs.
Yeah,
So
I know
I got to adjust. It's different.
I noticed me and your husband thinking like it's crazy. Because I'm more like you to do something like that.
Then too is to mess with you. I know. You ain't gonna. You don't try and clock me. Don't try and anticipate what I'm gonna do when I'm gonna do it. See, I know that too. And I'm okay. But then I gotta teach my mother and grandmother, because they're looking at Christmas Day and ain't nothing for me under the tree from him.
Mm.
So their hackles going up like Medina's mama.
Yeah, so they're looking at him like, what's
ladies.
the problem?
Right. Ladies, no. This is not how this house runs.
Mm-hmm.
This is how this house runs.
Protect
the kids have what they want. The kids have, we don't need, something under the tree on this day.
Mm-hmm. You're going to get something later.
Can either confirm or deny.
Oh, and the guy was Kevin on stage. That's what I was talking about.
Oh, I thought so, but I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know.
It was Kevin on stage. It was hilarious. I was like, yep. That could be like that, because you gotta even if you're giving gifts, you do need to confirm whether or not this person would even like this gift. It is a real thing, because historically, this is just from the random side, whatever. Like, first of all, we're not even used to receiving gifts ourselves for the most part. It's a thing. So when it does happen, it's like, oh, I'm usually shocked when it happens. I'm like, oh wow, it's crazy. Okay, but I ain't gonna lie. Some of the gifts I have gotten, even though I appreciate them, this is not a great gift. Like, I appreciate it. I'm gonna use it. It's good. But, I'm like,
Trey, one of my player moves back in the day?
Not the player moves.
Back in the day, a player move? I see, that's why I could see Tolga. A player move? A player move. That's player with the A, not the ER. A player move?
Player.
was to send a guy flowers.
Yeah, that's
Not
always
roses
weird
per
when that
se.
happens.
Exactly. Because you push back on your heels, you don't know what to think.
It's
You
unexpected.
appreciate it because you don't get gifts, and usually the flowers in the office, and I would send it to your office.
Oh yeah, now you're showing out. See.
What? What? Because everybody passing by thinking, whose man sent them flowers?
No, what
Like,
man? So who got what? Why this man got sent flowers is what they're gonna be asking. Like, what's going on? Yeah, I'm asking myself that. What the heck I get flowers for? Who the heck sent this? What?
and it morphed into being a player goodbye move because that would be the last gift. That would be the last. That would be the goodbye move when I slipped further and further into the dark atmosphere.
Oh, not the flower goodbye. Oh no. It's been
Yes.
great. It's been great. I've enjoyed you.
Mm,
I wish you to be on all your endeavors.
yeah. 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 It morphed into that. I'm sorry. It was a dark place and time. I see you, Dolly. I'm coming. It was a dark place and time. But as you say, gentlemen are not used to gifts. But send a single rose on Valentine's Day? What? I'm telling you, ladies. And the lady said last week, and Dolly's here, I'm bringing her up. Dolly and I should talk about dating and stuff like that for the ladies, and we will. But that was a player move. But if you do it right for a guy that does like you and has shown himself to like you as well, it can be something positive in your relationship. The Trey just said he likes gifts. Let me bring Dahlia up. Hey, Dahlia.
Hey, how are you guys?
Hey D.
Good, good. Glad you could join us. You always coming with the lipstick. Lipstick.
Not the
Looking good.
pearls. Not the big pearls. Oh no. Not the big
These are
pearls.
not pearls, sir.
This they look. I'm like, there's something.
They just thought it was something cute, had to come for the people. That's all. Give them
Well,
something to
we
look
was
at.
I was side eyeing the gift and the lack of gift giving in the pods, and Trey is getting me
Oh
right that it's the
yeah,
sentiment. It's the
That is
yeah.
sentiment.
sentiment. It was just a small pushback. Just all. Just making a big deal out of it. I don't think it's that serious, especially for a
Okay,
show.
I'm
It's
just
all
saying
about
you
the
ain't
sentiment. It's the sentiment that matters.
I think
okay.
that's just a German thing. I don't know if they're like really big on that sort of thing.
Yeah, we got to talk about that too. What is going on over there? Your experiences, the shock of it
Man.
all for you. Like, oh, this is different.
I think Trey, I think we got to come back for that after we know who's married and who's not. I
Okay,
think we'll
okay,
talk about that on that live
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah.
and see
okay.
where that is, and we'll talk schedule afterwards. But
Okay.
yeah, but
Cool.
Dolly, we were on Medina and Sally. We had gone over
Oh, okay.
quite a few of the folks, but we were talking about the bonnet. We were talking about the gift giving. Trey talked about the reveal, and we talked about I was shooketh that Medina wasn't at the head of his table or said the grace
Yeah.
because he's the baby of the family, and
Yeah,
Trey said
we
he'll
didn't finish
never
that
be
actually.
anything
We was
but.
getting into that.
But yeah,
Okay.
we were getting into that. So your thoughts
Okay.
on
Mm-hmm.
Sally and Medina?
Um, I honestly I thought this was going to be a throwaway couple, and now I think they might end up being the only couple who says yes to each other, or at least one of them will say yes, and I'm thinking it's probably going to be Medina. Yeah,
You think he going against Mama?
yeah, that's the impression I'm getting. Yeah,
Love it, love
I
it.
did say. I did say. Did I not just say before she came on here that a part of him wants to break away from that? I said that. Mark it down.
what happened? I didn't see what
Yes,
you
he
guys
did.
said. What did you say?
He said that a part of him
I was
wants to
just
break
like,
away, but
yo, he's the baby boy.
just like Medina said,
Yeah.
he's open to moving. Trey, I didn't take it as he definitely will say yes.
No, no.
Okay.
It's just he's open.
That's
That's
where
all.
I was.
That's exactly what I mean. I'm
That's where I
open.
was with Dahlia.
It's not a
That
definite.
she thinks he will say yes.
Okay. Okay. I just that's the impression that I'm getting. I feel like he's more invested in it than she is, to be honest with you. And I feel like she's still kind of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And I'm wondering if the producers are the one who pushed her to come back because they needed more bodies. I feel like maybe that's what's happening. And I think he might really like her. Now, I'm not entirely sure. I don't know if you guys caught this when he was saying, what do you guys think about me being with a woman like this? I thought that's an interesting way to put that. What do you mean like this, Medina?
Stop reading it. I'm tired of this
Stop.
gazy.
Stop.
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 Oh my
I thought he
God! Why
meant
did this
being a
happen every
husband and the
time?
head of his table.
Exactly. He's the baby.
Committed relationship.
He's the baby, and they treat him like the baby. He has no life outside of that family. This is his chance to get a life outside of that family. So he's asking me, so
And
how do you think this looks? You know, this is kind of cool. Y'all would never. I guarantee you, a lot of them, and the little sister, kind of said it. This is
mm,
strange. I didn't. They didn't see him in that light. He was just always supposed to
either
be there.
either they think he a little sweet, or or those are some hags, and they run off every woman that maybe potentially could be an option for him. Those are the only two options I can think of.
Door number 2, please, Bob.
Because I got that energy from that mama, that she was not afraid to tell him, no, try again. Like, God dang, ma'am. You don't want to take him aside and let him down gently. You gonna do it in front of the girl? Whew. These African moms ain't no joke, man.
Mom ain't no joke. Mom sat at the head of that table and ran it. He couldn't even say the prayer. He couldn't even say the prayer. Jeez Louise, y'all. The aesthetic of it. He has to grow up at some point and lead his family.
That's not gonna happen.
That's exactly what Trey said. It's not. It's not.
No.
And either he needs somebody, that kick in the door, like, but that'll rub them the wrong way. But they need to be a little more firm about it.
Yeah.
Well,
To maybe pull him away.
let me be more direct to what you just said, El. It's not that it would never happen. He just won't be the one to initiate that happening.
Mm.
It would have to take a woman of, I wouldn't say Sally, because she's been showing me some things I ain't been liking, and I actually like her
An
the
El
most
Cid type
out
of
of the women.
woman.
Yeah, you're gonna have a woman that's gonna actually pull you
Yeah.
and make you want to stand up and be a man and be your own man at that. Because the only reason I say that, it's not like he doesn't have the capabilities of it. It's just that he's in a position where not only was that not required of him, it's not wanted of him.
Understood.
Mm.
Understood. For them, we have hope in young love. I have hope in young love, but not this couple. I think they want to, but how they started off,
Mm.
her crying and running,
Yeah.
I really don't see him saying yes to her. If she didn't do that, maybe I could see, but I think that's going to be lodged in the recesses of his bonnet.
Yeah,
Okay.
but to Dahlia's point, God, she almost too fine to say no.
She is too fine to say no. She is.
She's too.
And if you ain't got your bonnet, she got you. Heck yeah, she too fine to say no.
It only works in this particular situation because we kind of mentioned this earlier from another show where I think this is the exact same issue. She is fine, but she's also intelligent and has something going on for herself, and
Mm.
that just adds more on the top. He may be seen. Okay, let's keep it real. She is a little bit out of his class to a certain extent, and we also brought this up earlier. Is this is this a classism situation that we're looking at when we're talking about these two? Because I'm seeing we both say we're
Oh.
saying elements of it, because she's trying to get him to make certain changes to be
Huh.
more presentable, probably in the world that she operates in and to
Yeah.
her family. So there's a lack of acceptance there of who he is. So I'm like, okay, but yeah, this is not a situation where okay, she may be fine, but she may be a little bit of an airhead, dumb as a rock. So it's easier to say no to that. She's fine, but she's smart and got a good head of her shoulders. It's
Yeah.
like, how do you say no from his
Yeah.
position? From his position, how do you say no? Because Elle said something earlier. I think she's right. I think they edited out a lot of their conversation when they met up again,
Hmm.
or that second interaction when they met up again. But I needed more from him about how he felt when she ran up out of there after she saw him. It wasn't for him laughing or nothing because that's just nervousness because she was fine. He looked at her as like, ooh, ooh, oh, okay, ooh, gotta readjust. Oh,
Yeah.
and his own insecurity came out like, oh, yeah,
Waiting for the shoe to drop.
But
exactly.
see, that right there will be the reason why she'll say no to him, because he gives me boy vibes, not man vibes. Like there's nothing like firm about him. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't trust him with my life. I don't trust him to take a bullet for me. I don't trust that you'll raise my kids and turn the boys into men. Like I don't get that vibe from him. He seems like a very nice guy, but I just I don't know, man. Watching him with his family, he's the only guy there. There was another little boy, but I think that was one of the sister's sons. He's been the only boy there. I think he's the youngest. That
Mhm.
mama is clearly the one who's running the show, and I don't think he ever had the opportunity to just like step into manhood. Really, all that giggling, enough. Like,
Hey, the
you
brother
can't.
can't laugh now. The brother
I
can't
know that
laugh.
is kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's too
His
But
much.
own,
Dahlia, what about this experience right now says he this you see because I know men who are like him in a sense, unless
Mhm.
it is the point to take a bullet, you will not see that out of them. So I can understand where you're coming from, but there's nothing life or unaliving about the situation. But here's the thing. I will give you that point
Mhm.
where his seat placement at the table and him not even saying a prayer in his own household. You are at my house as my
Mhm.
family, and they're not respecting his position. So then I'm scared for Sally. Will she have control as the woman of her household when they even come over to visit?
I didn't think
oh
about
no,
that.
she's taking control. If this was to go for it, Sally would take full control, and it will always be a contentious nature between her and his mom. Always.
Because she would have to step into mama role within the relationship. It would
Yes.
never really be equal footing until he steps into his own as a man. I
Well,
don't know that she like
I'm
respect him on that level.
I'm
Because
gonna
I'm
push
like,
back
why
just a
isn't the
tad
little
bit.
boy sitting next to his mama? Why is it
Say that
seeming
again?
like that's the kiddie side of the table? Why is the little boy not sitting with his mama? Why is
You know,
it seeming like the sisters are piled on one side and
he
they're on
love
the
his
kiddie side of the table with the
he
kids?
love his
It's
uncle.
like
What you mean?
dynamic is awful.
He love
Well,
his
that might
uncle.
be
That's my uncle.
production. That might be production though, because I noticed
Okay.
that they do that with pretty much everybody. Is that they have family on one side and then they have the couple on the other side. I think it's just easier for them when it comes to
Okay. Okay.
actually like filming purposes. I
Okay.
think
I'll
that
give you
might be
that.
why.
I'll give you that.
I
Because
was
Yeah.
gonna
Mama,
say
we needed
something.
a clear view of Mama's face.
I was gonna say something.
She wasn't having it.
In my opinion, as much as we are saying he's the baby, this and that and third, he has no power in the situation. and I clearly saw that from Jump Street.
Mm.
Nor is he in a position to even take power because they won't. They are the type of. This is a matriarchal family here. They won't even
Mm.
allow that. Okay, this is understand that what we're talking about. They will not allow a man to come in and take that power. I just get that vibe from it. But I I don't see Medina as a mama's boy. He doesn't give me mama's boy energy.
He doesn't. He doesn't.
He's not a mama's
He
boy.
doesn't.
Because if you notice, even with Sally, it's something you just I think it's something Elle just said. No, it's something Dahlia just said. If it if you push this forward, Sally will be the one to take the lead in the situation, and she
Yeah.
would have to be his mother. She would take the lead. I don't think she's going. I think it'd be a fight if she tries to take the place of his mother. Because if you notice, when it did come up again about him potentially moving to where she was, he pushed back hard. He went, "Whoa, no, no." I said I was open to move. I didn't say it was moving. What's the reason for me
It's a
moving?
good point.
He pushed back hard. Now it could be for two different reasons. One, because it's obvious she's trying to put him away from his family. He ain't having that. Especially when you're definitely not willing to sacrifice that as well. It'd been one thing if you chose a neutral location and we building a life together here. No, you want to stay close to yours, but you're trying to pull me from mine. Wait a minute here.
But Train,
Second
because
choice, mama boy.
they mentioned this. They mentioned this. They did a flashback. She asked him in the pods if he'd be okay with moving, and he said yes.
He
So
said I'm
now
open
he
to
needs to
moving.
double back.
He didn't say
Tell
yes.
it,
He
L.
didn't say yes.
Tell it,
He
L.
said
Tell
I'm
it.
open to. Open to. Not yes. Come on,
Words
Shella. This
matter.
ain't Shella.
Words matter. He specifically said I would be open to moving depending on the situation. That's exactly what he said.
Exactly.
Okay.
Depending on
The hell
your
no open.
parents, depending how you gel with my family, depending on a job
Yeah,
I get in another country. It depends.
I'm just
And
not
she
packing up and
heard,
moving.
she ended at open.
Yes, that's all. All she heard was I was open to, and she hear the depending on the situation, how it looks, how we progress.
Yeah.
Like, no,
Y'all,
you
I want
assuming he just a go.
Yep. Y'all, I want to give, if y'all, Dahlia start us off, and I know I got to leave in a few minutes, and I know
Okay.
we'll come back again for after um, tomorrow. Tomorrow is the reveal. We know who's married, who's not,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
then it'll be a reunion. Let me know, who do you think is going to say yes? We have Hani and Daniel, we have Alina and Ilias, and we have Sally and Medina. Any yeses in the group? I say Daniel's going to say yes. I say
Yeah.
Alina is going to be a yes.
Yes, it shouldn't be, especially with Lena. She shouldn't be, but yeah.
You know what? Okay. I think Daniel will say yes. Honey will say no. I think Medina will say yes. Sally will say no. And I think Alina and Ilias, I think they'll both say yes. But not because Ilias wants it. I think he'll do it because his family is pushing him to do it.
Because they like her.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
he's immature, so he'll listen to his family. So
right, because he just does things without thinking. But
yeah.
so I do hope that Hanny. I don't know why Hanny's giving me that. She understands the complexity of being so close together because of the show. But I'm thinking
Mhm.
and hoping Hanny's giving me a yes if we're not under this microscope.
The
Hmm.
darker side of me, the darker side of me is seeing this could be a hard flip because Daniel is no fool. He has been noticing that Hanny has been playing in his face
True.
for a good portion of the season. He's been noticing it. He's not stupid.
Yeah.
But he's still been going on as he's been sure. But that last runoff, I gotta take some couple of days, go to this hotel, whatever. I think that affected him a little bit. Like, hold on. So
Blanky.
I could see a scenario where she gets over her little running phase and say, you know what? Yes, and he goes, no, and here's why.
Also the thing with Ilias, when he said, I didn't hear you, shut it down. When she said she was playing in Ilias's
Mhm.
place for Alina, he said, but
Exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't hear you talk about you're happy in your relationship.
And she was the one that came up with the idea to do it. That was the crazy part.
I volunteer as tribute. I volunteer.
I was like, this is diabolical. This is
But you see,
diabolical.
it helped her purpose. It helped her
It
purpose to
did.
figure out if Daniel was jealous.
And he was.
That couple,
Rightfully so.
that whole situation would be the perfect case study for Kojo on the Dark Arts channel. Because
Yes.
she's a dark artist for real, for real.
Yes.
Yes.
She knew what she was doing.
Daniel might be darker.
Daniel would
Daniel
be
might be
darker.
darker.
It would totally be darker. Just all of them. Because I'm sorry, I think Alina playing us too.
She's not as sweet as she. When she went all in, went handy on
Mhm.
testing Ilya, I was like, oh nah, y'all on some bull crap. You already know he's been saying. This is the crazy part. He's been saying that he's kind of
Yeah.
feeling something for Hannah. Hannah,
To
he ain't
her.
hiding it. That's the crazy
Yeah.
thing to me. He's not hiding it, and yet you still trying to stay in this and sending chicks on dummy missions. That's volunteering as tribute. What?
But she said things reach a limit. We have not seen Alina carry on her limit.
That's true.
And when
And
she asked
also,
Daniel, "You're Italian, doesn't your jealousy pop up?" There's little
also,
things with Alina that tells me she got a little, a little bite to her that
Yeah.
I, I
I'll.
that's true. I hate to say this. Ever since she got cracked. She been taking a different tune all of a sudden. Like that's a little, like wait a minute now. She a little scatterbrain. I don't know. She a little scatterbrain. I don't know.
Hmm.
You know how
I
we
don't
get
have
when we
good
got
feelings
some.
about any of these people. This is
None of
this
them.
is probably the first time I've ever watched any of these shows. I don't like any of these people. I'm not invested in any of these couples. I don't have good feelings about any longevity for any of these couples. That's
Yeah,
weird.
yeah. It's almost 0 for 0 for me.
Yeah.
0 0 for me. And the crazy
Munira
thing
says
is,
in the chat,
Elena,
Alina is an actress. I did come across that on social
Oh, she
media
is?
that
that's
Alina
crazy.
is an actress.
That's crazy work. That's crazy work. We could be
But
set
we
up for
don't
the
know if
open.
she's I don't know if she's acting on this. So she's a little too accommodating. Them angel cards, she's too much, and I don't know if anybody here knows Little House on the Prairie. It screams too much Little House on the Prairie for me. Just a little too perfect, a little too
Yeah.
nice. And I have pets, and anything you can do could possibly trip them, and we haven't seen her flip yet. And there will always be a Hanny. So are you going to always be mindful of your man and his mind
Yeah.
wandering with the next chick, wondering and talking about it, but telling you why you worried about it because it ain't on my mind, but he telling us he can't get the woman out of his head. It's nasty work.
You know what the problem with Hanny is? I think it dawned on me when I was watching like this. I think episode 7 or something. She's never dated a guy like Daniel that on the looks department matches her, but is not obsessed with her as other men might be that she come across.
Right.
She doesn't know how to deal with that or handle that.
She needs an ego stroke, and the
Yeah,
ego stroke Daniel is not giving her. Ilias is.
true. And Daniel's not
But
going to give it to you because he done told you y'all find you beautiful, you're attractive. I'm good. You better live in that.
You know what's
I,
interesting
I've
to
done
me?
that. I had to.
she comes with this energy like she's been Little Miss Barbie her whole life. But you can tell she got some work done. And it looks pretty
Yes.
recent. So I'm wondering, like, this energy that you're giving, is this what you feel like you're supposed to be acting like? And like you are like just wild and out of control because now you get to behave like how you saw all these other girls behave? Like, were you, like, like the ugly duckling and now you're the swan now? So you think this is how you're supposed to act? Or has this been you the whole time?
It's giving facade.
I'm curious.
It's
Yeah.
Yeah,
giving
it's giving
facade.
camouflage.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, Ilias, she is not a natural blonde.
No. No, she's not.
I think he likes the work. He wants to admire the work, but I think he doesn't like the work. Because if you look at his mom, and I think with Ilias, Alina, she could do her hair and whatever and give that Vava Voom, look. But I
Is
think
Alina
Ilias is not
Italian?
happy. Huh?
Is
Is it
Alina
what?
Italian? Is Alina Italian?
No,
She's not, right?
No, she
No.
don't look it.
no. Only Daniel is that we've heard. But with Ilias, I don't think he's happy with himself and his life because he
No.
keeps trying to throw her lifesavers, saying, "You like the small town? You sure? What about a big city? What about this? What about that?" And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
you ain't happy where you are. Why are you not happy that she's happy to be living there with you?
Wait, is
Yeah,
it that I do agree with you, but is it that he's not happy, or is he testing her of why are you still trying to stay with me when obviously I give you many reasons to
could
back up
be.
out of here, and yet you still trying to hang on? Why? Why? What's going on? Like, I'm confused. Cause that does happen at times. You see women stay with these guys. I'm like, most guys know what they're doing. Most guys know if you ain't it's or not. Most guys know. And yet this chick's still with me. What am I supposed to do? Tell her no? It'd be the gentleman thing to do. But most of them won't.
Well,
I,
hold
I
on.
want to know what her thoughts are when she saw this.
I personally think Ilias might be a little delusional because Hani flashed a smile at him and he really thought that he stood a chance with her.
She
My
fine.
working theory is I think she's his fantasy woman. I think when he's watching Corn, that's the look that he's going for. Like face and body and everything. I really believe that. And I feel like this woman who's been in his dreams for years now, like, gave him a whiff of punani and he's like melting. He's like, he can't even handle it right now. He's willing to throw away a good thing. Somebody who's on his level for this woman who, if he was in his right mind, he would know he don't have a chance in hell at her. Like, look at him
But
and look at Daniel. Like, bro, come on. Be for real.
But again, look, going back to your theory, Dahlia, of the swan, it could be that Ilias was what she was drawing before she became a swan.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So actually, think about it. There's a reason why they did connect in the pods.
That's a good point.
He was her other option, and she was going between him and Daniel.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why he thinks he has a chance. It's the only reason why.
So it could be that, right, she has morphed into the swan, and now it's like, oh, but now it's more so attention from him, because I think they're kind of nerdy alike because they're realtors alike. They have the same profession. They were talking to each other. I mean, it was a lot similar.
They speak
but
the
I
same
think
language.
this is,
Too similar.
very, very similar. So I'm thinking she has blossomed out of that. Could be late bloomer. I don't know. And Ilias is comfortable. And then too, it could be that, hey, we ladies know when we got that whip appeal. we know.
Yeah.
We know when we can work. Babyface said, "Work it on me." She can't work it on Daniel. Daniel is very steadfast in who he is, what he likes, what he doesn't like. He isn't going to too much change you, but he will tell you, "Hey, this is what I noticed you didn't do."
Daniel's been good looking his whole life. He doesn't have to switch up.
Yes.
Like,
Daniel's like, I'm used to pulling baddies, so it's not even a thing.
That face card ain't declining.
Is he? Because that hairline declined.
Huh?
And what that mean?
Is he?
What that mean?
Come on now. Y'all know, men, Y'all know men who are balding early in life like Daniel ain't have the best chance on the dating market. We ain't gonna lie out here.
No,
But
that's
but
our
he had
dating market.
but
That's
he had
our dating
confidence enough to shave his head, and he got a nice head shape in
but
his
that's our
When
dating
Italian.
market. Over there,
when
I
did
don't
he
know.
shave it? When did he shave it? That's my thing. He is 30 something years old and bald.
Mhm.
You are not
Okay.
gonna tell me Daniel's been, suave all his life. Mm-mm. No. He also could have a recent glow up when he did
Listen,
accept the balding and take it all off.
I'm gonna tell you right now. Daniel
No.
has always had them eyes. Daniel has always had them smile. Okay.
Yep.
Daniel has
That's
always
good bone
been that
structure.
guy. He's always been that guy.
Yep.
When he had hair, when he didn't have hair, it didn't
Yep.
matter.
He's tall. He fit.
His confidence says all of that. He's too
Yeah. Yeah.
chill. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
what?
Quite
Nah,
confident.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
He
not
said
believe
he
But
would
it.
lay Ilias out, and he didn't stutter.
Yes, he would. Quick, quick, quick. And it was warranted in the
Hold up.
situation because he was like, "All right, y'all playing games. Hold on. Is this a situation where I need to go talk to him now? What's up? Let me know because it sounds like I need to talk to you too because you started this.
Yeah.
Went on this dummy mission. Hold on. What's up?
And Honey liked it too.
Yeah, you know, it. Listen, we are
they
still
seem to be like two glow ups together. That's why I think Hani and Daniel too. I think that two glow ups together later on. But y'all, I we can go on for hours, and I
uh,
appreciate you guys coming on. I gotta get back to real life and not the Love Is Blind world, but I appreciate y'all being here. And I will certainly encourage you guys, if you can't come back after the weddings. The weddings are tomorrow on Netflix. This is Love Is Blind Germany. And I thank all of you in the chat. I hope that you have liked, you shared, you put a comment below if this is you replaying it. And we will be here for other stamps in our passport. They're going to Italy. They're going to France. We will be there, and second season of Sweden. So definitely check out the other recaps and join us again for another live. I'm going to try and do another live after the weddings, and just look out for it in my community page or just your notification. So you got to subscribe. But thank you, and I'll see you on the next one.